Hello, everyone. It is a time for another episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. I am your host, as always, Matt DeWolf, editor-in-chief of Car Wash Magazine, coming to you live today from the snowy and luxurious studios here in Minneapolis. You can tell the studios are luxurious because guess what? There's car wash photos on the wall. Duh. You know what? So one of these days, I'm gonna have to do like a MTV Cribs tour of the studio, and and you all can be duly either impressed or unimpressed. It's a sight to see. I promise. All right. So on this program, you guys, look, we've got a great guest today coming up for you. We've got Brent Wignall going to be joining us from Wiggy Wash out in Utah, also part of Mammoth Holdings. Stay tuned for that. Make sure you gear up right now with any questions you might have. We're going to be going through a good interview with Brent, but we do always encourage you all to ask your questions down in the Facebook feed here, and we'll get those questions up the stream, so to speak, and get those answered for you. So be thinking about your questions. Right now, though, I'm working pretty hard on the latest issue of Car Wash Magazine, and I wanted to just say a quick thank you to everybody for the 500 plus photos that you all have sent in across 14 different washes so far, showcasing Halloween themed tunnel experiences or whatever you all might have been doing for Halloween. So super awesome with that. If you still want to get into this issue, there is a brief few moments for you to be able to do that. So send me anything you might have at mdewolf@carwash.org if you have not already sent those in to the magazine. So the one thing I want to make sure that you know is the only way you're going to see all those photos in the live and print edition of the magazine here is if you subscribe to be an ICA member. So make sure you're current on your membership. Carwash.org/join. That link is right down. I can't ever do this. It's right down there. Carwash.org/join. That is per individual, my friends. So if you want more than one person to get copies of that thing, make sure you get more than one membership. So that's that for you. Speaking of great things going on in our car wash community and making things about more than washing cars, yesterday was Veterans Day here in the United States. And as we've been talking about, Grace for Vets is a program run by Mark Curtis who that really takes and honors vets with free washes. So everybody can sign up. They get promotional materials, all this kind of thing. It's a great service to the community and a great way to say thanks to all the veterans who have given their service for our country. They washed, hundreds of thousands of cars across thousands of car wash locations. And so we'll have some more official numbers on that for you coming up here in a future episode. But kudos to Grace for Vets. Like I said, keeping in the same vein of kind of Veterans Day and honoring our vets and our theme, Brent Wignall is going to be joining us here in just a few moments on this episode of Car Wash Magazine Live. But in case you missed last week's episode, we had vet Bill Martin, also a Car Wash Hall of Famer, along with his son Derek Martin on the program. And we spent some time talking about staying ahead of the curve and how you can make sure that you're ready for the next big thing. And here's a quick soundbite from that episode for you.
Thinking about our people and our team, we build these great facilities and we spare no expense in terms of the technology and the equipment, but really we have to focus on our people. And at Metro Express, we call it the Metro Way, which helps us focus on people, process, product, and place. The people part of that comes first, whether it's our people, our customers, our vendors, our neighbors. We want to keep that at the top. And so trying to stay ahead of the curve, I think, is hard to do because you can't really predict what the consumer or what's the next trend is. But I do think you have to stretch. And we've done that in a number of sites that we've built, and I think others have as well.
Yeah, I think, we try to standardize every wash we build and have. But there's always a new shiny thing that we want to try out, whether it's, the no pileups or new queue management systems. I think the next big thing, it's kind of an existing technology now, but mobile payments, I think our industry has been slow to adopt that. And I mean, we spend all this money on point of sale equipment, but everybody's walking around with $1,000 computer in their pocket that is capable of that. So I think we certainly need to do a better job about adopting that.
All right, great advice there from our friends at Metro Express on how you can stay ahead of the curve with your business and what you kind of need to be looking at to make sure you're meeting those future customer needs as they always change. Okay, friends, guess what time it is? Your favorite time and mine. It's time for a joke. We got jokes. You know what? I just skipped it. I skipped Pod Save Us. Look, Pod Save the Queen, my friends. On the latest episode of the podcast, we've got Mike Timmer from Wash U. He's sharing some knowledge with everybody about his love of belt conveyors. And we also got a chance while we were at that location doing that podcast. We had a chance to witness a customer interaction where the customer came on the lot, got his car washed, wasn't happy with it, was pretty frustrated, left that lot happier than they arrived on location. So make sure you hear that story. That's anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Carwashthepodcast.com is my favorite. So, all right. I was so excited even that I had to skip ahead here to the jokes because this one's a good one, you guys. All right. What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know, but that flag sure is a big plus. That's right. Flag's a big plus. Get it because the flag is all right. All right, tour time.
I had just returned home from a deployment in Iraq, and then we were having a Christmas party where all our friends came together, and one of my buddies said, hey, if you'll build a car wash across the street from this Walmart, I'll manage it and you'll make millions. And it just stuck in my head. So a couple months later, we flew out to the show when it was in Orlando. Went to the new investor seminar, and the ROIs and everything just seemed to fit. Unfortunately, my buddy wouldn't come manage it for us, and he started his own nonprofit organization. As we've grown to 4 locations and that type of networking starts beginning with larger corporations and things like that, it's been very educational and a ton of fun to learn it. We invest money back. We've invested money back into the company every year since year one on improving things, adding more equipment, new functions as they come out, like the hot wax.
I love talking to people, I love interacting with people. I mean, people aren't gonna be mad about a clean car.
I feel like we're in the people business. We just happen to wash their cars. What makes it fun and exciting and what makes it a career versus just a job, I feel like is just that people aspect of it.
We've concentrated really hard for the last 2 years to come up with our foundation, make sure that the company knew, that all of our team members knew our vision, that our leadership all knew what we were expecting and where the vision of Wiggy Wash was. We developed core values and we included all of our leadership in with that core values, and then they took it to their sites and talked to their team members about it. So we had input from the entire company.
It's more than that. We're a family here. Even though I'm really young and a lot of them are a lot older than me, I've just learned so much. And the nice thing about it is we're always developing and figuring out new ways to do everything. And it's not just tell me, hey, we need to do it this way. We always involve each other, which is nice to feel like you're involved in the decision.
That's a big part of what makes us different than working at a fast food place or any other job that people can get, is we like to have that family fun atmosphere while at the same time taking care of our customers.
All right, that was a quick tour of Wiggy Wash out in Orem, Utah. Now joining us on this very fine program is Brent Wignall. Brent, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Matt. Great to be here.
Hey, so I had the pleasure of getting to see that location and hear that story firsthand. There's a couple things in that video that are already out of date because you guys are growing, so that you have ramped up to a fifth location, 6 tunnels. And for those of you who don't know how that math adds up, we'll get to that in just a minute. But let's back up real quick. For anybody who maybe is joining the program right now and maybe missed that video, can you give us like the 30,000 foot version of your path to the car wash industry?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, it honestly started with a great friend of mine that been friends since knee high, and got home from about a year after my last deployment and discharged from the military. And so he said, if somebody will build a car wash in this area, I'll manage it and you'll make millions. And that just never left my mind. And there weren't car washes around here in Utah. They're 15, 20 minutes away from where we had to go. And so I flew out. The show happened to be, looked into it and flew out to Florida, Orlando that year when the show was in Florida, and did the new investor thing. And it was just kind of that omen. Everything lined up and everything, it just wouldn't shake out of my heart. So we started moving forward with it.
Well, and to be clear, not everybody can come into this business and make millions, so to speak.
That's definitely the stigma that some people from the outside looking in think, and it brings a lot of these new green space builds where it's what the industry is called the mom and pops coming in and just getting into the industry in the last few years. So I think it's a wake up call for everybody, but in the same instance, everybody ends up, I haven't talked to a single person that didn't think they were getting in it for the money and then end up finding all the other enjoyments out of the industry, and that's why they stay with it.
Yeah, that's a huge piece of it. And I know for you all at Wiggy Wash, which by the way, I'm sorry for just destroying the Wiggy term all over the place this week promoting the show. I just, I can't not say get Wiggy with it. It's like,
it's anybody that knew the Fresh Prince or
right.
That summer love.
We almost started this show with that song, but I think it would get taken down. Sorry, we're digressing here. But I know for you guys at Wiggy Wash, one of the big things for you and one of your values is around community, and that's a big part for you. And that's your community, and it's a big piece of your brand and what you do. To that end, you guys were part of this wave that I talked about at the top of the program with Halloween experiences this year. Can you just tell us a little bit about how that went and kind of the results that you all saw?
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. And really with the way the industry and everything is in our communities across the whole country, it was kind of the perfect storm that led up to that. So we had wanted to do a haunted tunnel for years and years, and it always ended up happening. We have such a busy summer with so many events. It's always October 1st that I'm trying to put that together, and everybody's bucking because we've been so busy through events in the summer. So we finally pulled the trigger last year and had a great, successful month of October. And we were really excited about doing it again this year. And so when we did it again this year, like I said, with that perfect storm, we had an Amber Alert go out across the entire state that Friday of Halloween, telling people to stay in and stay home. We had some great things line up as far as influencers that came in, social media influencers that had hundreds of thousands of followers and just got a riot out of it. And so, it was all said and done. We had people driving from 3 hours away, 4 hours away on the Utah-Idaho border to come to this haunted tunnel of ours and honestly wait in line for 2 to 3 hours on top of that. So, but for us to give back in this time where there wasn't a lot of options and opportunities, and to see the kids and how much fun they were having, as well as our staff. So it was a great opportunity.
That's crazy. It's like, okay. Not only did they drive for 3 hours, then they waited another 2.5 to go through maybe a 20-minute experience?
Yeah, and we really tried to, and there's a lot of the haunted tunnels or haunted car washes out there, and that's the difference with us having the space that we have. We had actually 10 actors throughout the wash experience in the tunnel. So we have so much space and room. So there were 20 people in the tunnel while you're going through the wash, but we also had everybody that was out on the lot and helping in that queued stacking. So that interaction and playfulness and trying to stay in character, I think gave them the entertainment, or at least, hey, I got to get to there and then I can start getting the entertainment.
Yeah, and even with so the video shows it, right? The massive amount of space that you all have. Even with that, you still have people on the street.
Yes, we had them about a mile and a half down the road. Police coming out of the first couple of nights, seeing that we're doing everything we can do, seeing if there's anything they can help us with, and realizing, it was the perfect storm, and let's try to keep creating this value and give 3 minutes or 3 hours of normalcy to the people coming in. And so as Mammoth, we've really tried to focus on that this summer of 3 minutes of normalcy. And that's what we just tried giving to them as they came in.
That's great. You're touching on what one of the questions was that came up in the Facebook feed here around keeping people safe during COVID-19. I like that approach of 3 minutes of normalcy. I'm not gonna put you on the spot with that COVID question because we have talked about that a little bit. But I would say for anybody watching the program who wants more resources, if you go to carwash.org/sharing, we do have a lot of great COVID resources for you there. If you're just kind of considering getting yourself ready for the next wave or whatever you might need to help you in your business, we've got some resources there. We've talked about it on this program in the past with some really great tips and tricks. But I want to come back. We're here. I'm Matt DeWolf, editor-in-chief of Car Wash Magazine, and I am with Brent Wignall of Wiggy Wash. If you're just joining the program right now, we're talking about the importance of community and a great Halloween tunnel experience that Wiggy Wash put on. That community experience for you, Brent, that carries over way more than just the wash itself and what you guys are doing there in a Halloween tunnel. That's core to what you guys do. And that shows up even in how you expand. And I know you guys just acquired Papa's Wash there in Utah. Can you just talk about how that community piece kind of comes in with decisions on, whether you're going to rebrand a location or kind of all that goes with acquisitions?
Absolutely. And I think Mammoth, we do a great job. It's one of the first and the only one I've had experience with as far as operators doing best practices, and it's a best practice platform. So whether that be a best practice for everybody involved with Mammoth or a best practice just for the Utah region, we've got the full support of Gary that was on here a few weeks ago, and Marcus and all of our other executive VPs. So while that, that best practice, it falls into the brands as well. What is the best practice for this brand? And while we've had some acquisitions that lie an hour or two away and it makes sense to not rebrand them and put that money into them, and they've got a good brand, Utah's a little different. We've got the mountains that create this valley, and we can hit all 6 washes now, or all 5 washes within 30 minutes from one end to the other. And so it's the same customer base. So we got to look into that and what's the best to give back to them. And it's really difficult when you have a brand like Papa's, because that's somebody that was new to the industry, gives back to the community, has a fantastic reputation and brand. And, with joining forces with Wiggy Wash and with Mammoth, it's an opportunity for us to give their customers more convenience of washing at other locations and a clear message of what we're doing. So while we're still in that debate about, is it best for the customer to change that brand and switch to the Wiggy brand? It's not so much about ego or anything like that. It's just what's going to be best for the customer. And, honestly, it's, we've learned things from Papa's. Papa's has some fantastic club fundraisers that they do with the local schools around there, and I've actually taken that and implementing it across all the other Wiggy Wash locations. So it's a give and take there.
Yeah, and that's super important. And just when you go down this path of acquisitions, just to be able to make sure that community, right, and know ahead of time what kind of impact and what kind of things that location might be doing, so that you don't drop the ball and lose a bunch of customers, because that's not good. Right?
As well as the human resource of it. We don't want to lose that fantastic team that they've created either.
Right. Yeah. Somebody else is coming in and, this isn't for me. We stopped doing all the great things that I really loved, like Halloween tunnels and that kind of thing. Speaking of the Halloween tunnels again, it keeps coming up. We can't get away from this topic, but that's okay. Are you guys going to do anything? This is a question from the Facebook feed here. Are you guys going to do anything for Christmas?
We've had those ideas, and our district managers have thought about that and brought up that, trying to give people some normalcy in today's world and the pandemic that we're in. And Utah just got a mask mandate and some mandates that went out on Sunday night. So we're just dealing with that this week, of kind of going to that next level of government requests. And so there is, we are switching our, because we do, have a lighted theme going through our wash that's, you might have caught with the Halloween with the LEDs on wall packs and stuff. So we will be changing to a red and green through Christmas. We already have the FM transmitters at all the locations. So we're going to be playing some Christmas music. So, but it's difficult because as we talk about it in the logistics, how do we still promote and try to teach people of how to get through the wash safely with COVID and everything, but yet add in more signage with here's our Christmas themed tunnel. And so it's a lot of different mixed marketing opportunities right now. And to get all these different messages we're trying to do in this industry, it gets difficult at times.
Yeah, that's maybe the big thing, right? Like there's a lot of noise and a lot of information and a lot that everybody's trying to process on a normal day, let alone like during a pandemic. Like we talk all the time about how do you cut through the noise, and it's harder and harder. But I think the nice thing that is about car washing is that it's relatively known, right? Like that's a thing, what's going to happen. And like, if you can inspire and delight with a little bit of like holiday magic or, playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving. I mean, maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's what you do. I want to come back to something kind of related to the Papa's kind of train. I know because it seems like every wash I visit somehow ends up with Mammoth. We're gonna start charging commission, I guess, for where I go. But I was at Papa's when I was out in Utah as well, and I know that they had a really successful unlimited program. Yes. I know that you guys have had a really successful unlimited program, but I also know that somehow in all of these things going on, you all continue to grow unlimiteds at a pretty aggressive clip. Can you give us some sort of an idea of how in the world that happens?
You know what? Here in Utah, we're growing. We sign up an average of 14%. The sign up rate is we're hitting in that 13 to 15 percentile, where the industry average is that 4 to 6. And so we're doing really well here, and we have for several years. But as we focused on it more around about 3 years ago, we really started focus on it. But when we joined Mammoth, actually a year ago on Halloween, it's been 1 year. And so when we joined Mammoth, it's that best practice thing. So not only do we have best practices and talking with Chris Presswood that I've talked to for years at Finish Line Car Wash, but now it was not only here's the best practices, but now we're going to work through it and we're going to integrate it and implement it. And here's how we're going to do it. And so when we took a couple of those key things that Mammoth has created and that we've continued to polish and work on, it's just exploded. Our clubs have gone through the roof. We're super excited. This is year 3 for Orem, and it honestly seems like it's the first year ramp we're seeing such aggressive numbers. And so when I look at Papa's and see what they've done and see the opportunity that's there, it's like, holy cow, all we have to do is just implement this one little thing and it's going to go to a whole new level. Yeah. As far as clubs and the excitement for everybody. Because when you got all the clubs coming in, everybody's excited because you're running a lot of cars. Right. And so there's, excitement churns excitement.
Yeah, there's a couple of weeks ago we had Richard Enning from Mr. Wash on, and one of his big tenets is showcase car wash activity. People like to see activity, and especially with the Orem location that you all have with the massive size, when you start bringing cars in there and a lot of unlimiteds and they're just cycling through there, that's going to bring people in for sure.
Absolutely.
I think there's also, probably just some little things that people could do with their unlimiteds. Is there anything on the unlimited front that's just a small tweak that if I'm an operator and I'm going out there today and I'm trying to sell some unlimited programs that I should try and do? Just like one thing.
I think a big thing I see in Utah and that lined up with Papa's and made us realize, hey, is the pricing, your club pricing. If that's not dialed in, and if we have 1 or 2 or 3 locations, it's kind of hard to test the waters or see what everybody else does. And so once again, that was an adjustment we made when we joined Mammoth, and the beauty of having locations in all these different states and different regions. And that was one of the things they wanted to approach, and we tweaked it and we actually dropped pricing. And, so with that, having that correct ratio to our single sale price, as well as to the club pricing, Papa's is in line with that as well. And so it kind of is a backup that, hey, they were doing the same club pricing as we were at the same 4 levels and the same entry level. There's something to this. That's just more data we can take to put behind us as far as, our thoughts and ideas that they are in the correct direction.
Interesting. Yeah. So pay attention to the data, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's all a math game, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's the difficulty is people want to come in. Well, if you're going to wash your car 4 times, that's, $60 what you'd pay. So I got to make that club around $40. And sometimes we just get that. And I can see now that higher, well, I saw a few years ago, that higher price point creates more average visits because they've got to get their money's worth. And so just all these little things that when you can, and we're still priced the highest out of all of Mammoth as far as our region. So it's not like we drop down to a bottom level price or anything that like Georgia is doing or we're doing in Alabama. So we still have the highest entry level, but it's the lowest, one of the lowest entry levels in Utah. So it's region by region, but it's an important tactic to look at and think of the long game and not so much the short game.
Yeah, there you have it, folks. The art and the science of growing your unlimiteds by like a 30% clip, even when you're well established.
Yes. Speaking
of science, we've got a question coming in from Facebook. Curious about the population within the 10-mile radius. I think this is of the Orem location. So population in 10-mile radius, and then traffic count in front of that wash.
The traffic count in front of that wash is 55,000 average daily traffic count, according to Utah Department of Transportation. It's one of the main arteries coming into Orem. And it's been a while since I've looked at it, but a lot of rooftops, and I would dare say it was 80,000 rooftops within 3 to 5 miles. And that was a few years ago. But Utah is a huge economic driver right now, and we've got houses going faster than we can build them. And so some great opportunities to grow green spaces here in Utah right now.
Yeah, for sure. And with Papa's too, I know that the location of that particular wash is in a space where a lot of young families are going in, and there's a ton of activity there, and new schools being built. And so that's another reason why I think some of the unlimited success has been there, is because the demographic of the customer is ripe for the subscription model. So I think there's just tons of people there.
There is, and like I said, because we can't get spread out, and so we're all right here in this valley and in this basin, and while new areas develop, and it's just like I said, it's a prime Salt Lake. There is the car wash industry has been around for a little bit longer, and it's more established, and there's more competition. But still nowhere along the lines of what we see in Georgia or some bigger cities in Alabama or Nashville. So, Utah County and just south of Salt Lake City, the population is incredible, and there's only it opens the door to a lot of new investors. The mom and pops like Mark Phillips that came in 3 years ago trying to figure out what he wanted to do, and so it's a really fun time to be able to get to know those new operators and what they bring from their past life into this industry.
Yeah. We keep saying it. It's a good time to be in this industry. Yeah. So hopefully you're already here. I do want to stick to our theme a little bit of veterans in the industry and say thank you, Brent, for your service. I want to know though, what skills maybe have transferred or crossed over, or what have you taken from that military experience and applied to car washing?
I've been asked that quite a bit in the last couple of years as we've kind of taken these additional steps and gotten bigger, and I've taken a bigger role with Mammoth. And than just running 4 car washes in Utah. So I think what always comes to mind is 2 key things. And one is the leadership aspect of it. The leadership that you learn or that hone in on your natural skills throughout the military is incredible. When there's people's lives on the line, and the way that you can put that and make it applicable to the people that are, working side by side with you there. It's not a life and death situation, but the roles and respect factor is still there. I've always been a huge proponent of respect what I've done and respect what I can offer, and don't respect the collar. I've never had I do what I had to do, and I gave my salutes as we were walking by officers and stuff, but it was always respected the man, not the collar. The other thing that why we were able to even get financing during the recession, and why we had our banker believe in us, myself and my partner with Wiggy, Chris Hellstone, was the bootstrapping aspect. When you're, given a task and a mission, and this is what you've got, and you've got to get this done. And after 10 years of having that mentality, we bootstrapped, and we were going to do everything that we had to do to make Wiggy Wash successful. And that bootstrapping aspect, and combine that with a warrior's mentality and that warrior spirit, there's not a whole lot that can stand in your way. And so I think that's been a huge part of why we've been so successful within the industry, and people hear of our brand or hear about us, and I think people are a little surprised when we're just 4 locations in one little county, because of the way some people tend to talk about us. But that's how we do things. We put everything into it. We give it our all.
Yeah, it's you would think that maybe you guys were a 50 location operation, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
Yeah.
you sort of are. I mean, whatever. Potato.
We get to say that now that we're over 50 locations.
Right. That's funny. Well, Brent, I'm not going to keep it too much longer, but I do have one last question that I like to make sure I ask everyone on this show before we head out. And that is, what is it that gives you hope, or what is it that kind of keeps you coming back to car washing?
Like you said earlier, I mean, it is an amazing time to be a part of this industry right now. That there's so many aspects of private equity and acquisitions throughout, distributors and everything that's going on, that by becoming a part of Mammoth, I've been able to see the backside of that, and not only see it, but get taught and learn how to understand it, where I didn't have a clue about it at all. I distinctly remember last time we had the car wash show. It seems like forever ago, but in Nashville. And I was nervous. Everybody was announcing these acquisitions and these combinations, from chemical companies all the way down to distributors. And I mean, I was nervous. We lost our marketing people because they got acquired by a POS company. And it's just like, wow, how much more is this going to affect me? And what do I need to do to get ahead of this wave? And so it was a beautiful opportunity that kind of, fell at the right time with Mammoth. But that's the excitement, is that we're always, it's not just washing cars, and it's not that way with our team on the ground in operations. It's not that way with accounts receivable or with Gary, our CEO, or the executives. It's always the new things coming in, ceramics that we're dealing with now, and polymers, and you had COVID, and how do we get into doing stuff safely, and window up washing, and how do we keep our team safe? I mean, we've got over 100 team members with our 2 flex service locations. And how do we keep our team safe? Not just our customers, but our team. And so, there's always something new. And even when you don't think it's going to, and you think you're getting it down, then all of a sudden, Corona jumps up and becomes a pandemic and turns your world upside down. You start figuring out how to do things. And when that goes away, there's going to be either a lot of time to focus on a lot of new and exciting things, and that's going to spin the whole industry around again. But with the money and technology and the advancements that we're making in this industry, it's hard not to be excited to come in every day and see, what's new today? What are we going to do new today?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brent, I got to say thank you so much for spending a little time with me today and sharing your story. Thanks for being on the program, my friend.
Thank you. I really appreciate everything you've done for us, Matt, and International Car Wash Magazine, and always been a good friend to Wiggy, and I really appreciate you having us on here today.
Nice. Well, I'll let you get back to the business of washing cars. For everybody at home watching this program, if you want to see more episodes, you know where to do that. That's at carwashmagazine.com, or you can watch the old versions on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube. Anywhere you're watching this content, you can check that out. And guess what, friends? Until next time, when you're out there this week and this weekend, there's only one thing you got to do, and that's keep it clean.